Holy smokes, people. I would really like to speak out for the German citizens, as I am currently residing in this country, Germany. And I would like to say that on behalf of anyone who likes to seclude themselves in their home for certain periods of time and just smoke a well-earned doobie to relax and to calm down a little. Or just sit in the park, just roll one up and then just sit there like you would when you would be smoking a cigarette. And I think every human being should have the right to also legally purchase what helps him to relax. Because what I can safely say at this stage is that I need cannabis, and for me also tobacco, to relax. And I really know what I'm doing. And this is why, all I can say to that is, when the state is uncertain about how to also manage it, there are people who know how to work with psychedelics at home on a therapeutic level. And one of these people is speaking to you right now. And I have trained myself to basically work myself out of my depression. I have literally managed, it's the middle of the night, right? I know how to use these substances, and that's then the topic where you have to ask yourself, should he be free to talk about this? It's a hot topic, right? Now, do we need to shut him down? Is this like, you have to say these things. Because nobody wants the next Hitler, So all I can say is, I can relax with cannabis. But I cannot buy it legally on the streets because it's illegal. And I don't want to buy from, I don't know if thugs is a bad word. I don't want to buy from people in dark corners, in shady situations where I have to feel threatened for my life. So I use the local CBD shop to buy something that they call HHC. And all I can say is HHC is terrible, terrible stuff. I mean, I can work with it, I make a lot of art, but it screws up your mind because it's chemical. So I'm really voting for, let's turn on the light on the subject and say, I think we should just trust them a little because the information is out there. People are drawn to the internet. I can look up anything. I speak openly about these subjects. I have written a book. Now comes the advertisement. It's called Not Madness. And the subtitle is Hacking Your Life with Psychedelics. It's the extended edition. You can also start with the first one, which has way less explanations. It's just like short and concise. And then in Not Madness, I put down the whole script. Like, also for addictive problems. If you have addictions, how to work with them. You just see it as a challenge. But yeah, I don't want to go into detail in everything. I think I have already spoken about these things on my podcast in the Godly Substances series. So I don't have to explain you what the book is about. The book is me in a book. Right, it's like, that's just what you get. I kind of speak how I write. I speak how I write, only I also have the graphical. There are a lot of images, right? They're very creative works, pictures at times, things to help you engage with your mind, if you know what I mean. And, that's all there is. I've got porridge on the stove. I just showered these plants with some intense energies I picked up earlier. Good vibes, actually. It was a fire with a good friend. A companion. I like the word companion. Friend is so... because we're not always friendly. I have no friends. I have all kind of free agents running around doing stuff. And I think we speak for all of us if we say, sometimes you can have a really good night. Just like, sometimes you can just really let go for one evening, and then the rest is just a little bit simpler. Sometimes you feel like there's really okay, I arrived. Not quite sure yet. It's still bubbling. And just because I feel this now so strongly doesn't mean I can't stumble and fall back into, is it really? But right now I feel good. I've worked hard. Nobody would understand. You just have to look at everything I did. And then you'd know. But you're missing the in-betweeners. I have basically, this is a diary of my entire life. I've recorded a diary of my entire life. There's no privacy. What's privacy anyway? Anybody who wants to can try to read my thoughts, right? It's people read my thoughts all the time. They really dig in my history. So I have to be okay with that people are going to snoop around for goodies, for some kind of, I don't know, oh yeah, we knew he was a phony. No, I've been telling you for a long time now, ever since I came. But the problem is, how am I to articulate myself with people who are basically salesmen for their own bullshit? You really have to work hard to understand that the image a person is creating has nothing to do with who the person actually is. There's people that can hide themselves so well, wear a cloak, and you never see who's hiding inside of it. And there may be a crippled young man hiding in a strong young man, or a strong young man hiding in a crippled young man. You see, you don't know that. Or even old men can have young children inside. I think you just have to rejuvenate your soul by doing things that you like. And that starts with, I don't know, go to the cinema and eat popcorn, right? Watch a movie. Sometimes there's even oldies. I'm gonna watch, In the Name of the Rose or something. I don't know how it's called in English. With Sean Connery. It's gonna be in December. I know that already. 5th of December, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm gonna eat popcorn. and maybe drink Coke. Or maybe I'm just gonna take an iced tea. That's the things that I can do. To also reconnect with places that I remember, such as working at the cinema. I love that place. There's a part of me that just wants to go back to working there. But there's this other, I could never do that. Because, look at this place. I have become the Barbarian Lunatic. I have become this guy. I go into the forest and I do crazy stuff and I come back and then I do art. You don't just do this. You don't just put everything on a card and then stop. You know what I mean? Then it's all or nothing. There's no bluffing anymore. I'm just gonna do this. But the only reason I can do it because people realized, oh wow, he's really going to do it. And then we start helping him because he also helped us first, right? It's like, you tidy up yourself, you start tidying up around you. I take your anger, I go to the forest and I clean myself and I do art with your anger that I'm feeling. There's a lot of hate, I take a blow for a friend because unlike him, I'm completely free at the moment. I was free to choose what I want to do. I could pick. I could have done everything. Believe me, I could have done everything. I did science and my professors were licking their fingers. Believe me, I do good work. And at one point I just said, fuck it all. I don't care. I still got the degree. I just stopped writing it at some point. I just said, that's all. 60. Okay, they were difficult. It's hidden in my podcast. I talk about this on my podcast. This is not for here. Some things I just like to keep private. I cannot, YouTube is more like flower power, right? I'm stretching this, I'm really stretching this with my content. Some of it is maybe a little bit dark or confusing. I would actually say de-confusing, You use something that's so confusing that it overrides your confusion. Because, if you're stuck in a thought pattern, the only way to get it in check is by, let's say, how would we call this? By letting it go. But if you're always stuck in this loop, I'm sick, or something's wrong, or bad weather. You always walk around like this, like, But if you do certain things, certain practices, if you meditate long enough, right? Or let's say if you have really good sex, you blast through these boundaries and these thought patterns because you have a moment of complete bliss and silence. And that's what then, ideally an ayahuasca ceremony is supposed to do. It's supposed to prolong the state in which you are completely free of anything. And some people offer these things, but you don't know, right? I don't know what's too loud. I don't know if it's safe to say that, there are crooks. Anything, right? You have to watch out yourself. You have to watch out yourself. For example, people that have really crooked teeth, they're probably used to lying a lot. I don't know if they're crooked. I don't clean them often. Okay, what I'm trying to say is there are pitfalls. In essence, everybody's probably really nice because everybody's like, Hitler baby Hitler, super cute. We have that all inside of us. Are wars justified? I say no, because what's always the motive? It's power. And I'm never sure if these wars are just being, if it's just like being a fabrication. They just do advertisement for, but where else would all these weapons go if not to people that use them to shoot others? So who are we to claim to be peaceful and send out weapons to other countries? It's kind of hypocritical, right? I mean, also to keep and kill cows and animals in such a way as we are doing it, and to not see how this is kind of, I mean, it's just like a Holocaust. Only we're breeding them for that. I mean, isn't that kind of sick? Just so that I can later sit on the toilet and have a shit? I mean, that's where it's going. Why don't we just start eating lentils, right? I mean, I don't know a lot about soybeans. I work well with chickpeas and lentils, and I think I've said enough, right? Certain things I keep private. You know, I may say that I may roll a joint now and do an art session, or I may also say that, yeah, I'm absolutely going to do that. But I don't have to show you, and I also can't recommend it, you know. But as long as you do it as a kind of a therapy, where you consciously engage with yourself during these sessions. You know, you don't just smoke and watch TV. You know, that gets old pretty quick. You don't just smoke and then stuff yourself with food. You know, you do this at first, you know, and then you learn to restrain yourself. You drink tea and then you smoke. I've also drunk coffee and smoked. Coffee with sugar, cardamom, you know, but then you have to have something to do. And that's how I do art, right? That's how I do art. That's how I stand 3 hours behind the laptop. I just drink a coffee with cardamom and sugar, right? And then I stand 3 hours behind the laptop and I make these art things. You know, coffee gets me to do this. Otherwise, I'm too heavy because I'm holding what I'm building, right? You have to be the pillar of your own creation. Otherwise, it's going to topple. And the best thing is to find other pillars and connect themselves with them. Connect yourself with them. But for that, what you have to do is to first work that your own pillar is steady and ready. So you have to be self-employed. First for yourself. Also for others. But you work your shit out. And when that's working and when that's rolling and you realize you can do it, then you can start helping others. You know, I've basically done nothing else but work in here like a horse so that my content is already ready for the next couple of months, 4 months, 5 months. I mean, now we're in October and my content is in April already. You know, working towards May. And now I have the challenge to fill the gaps. And that's the real challenge. Because the rest is just filming myself talking, making art recordings, you know, sometimes maybe making latex stuff. But the real fickle thing is filling the gaps. So I just start recording stuff, playing computer games, talking. And then comes the creative part. You know, I just, you know, you have here 1 month, and let's say you do 7 talking videos, and then you stretch them out. Then you do 2, then 4 nothing. Like, I'm talking about dates. First, let's say you have May. You do, let's say, 4 recordings, 1st to 4th May. And then on 5th May, you leave a gap. Or you do 3 days gap, and then you do, you know, 7 more, and then you have 4 gaps. And then, you know, that's how you do it. It varies. And then you think about creative stuff, like the Sylvester image that I made. You know, okay, I wanted to do it like that. You know, I was thinking about, you had an idea, you look for it, and then you have to work on it. Then you have to hone it. You know, it's like, I think Woody Allen said it. It's like looking, you know, well, that's how I'm going to say it now. It's like you have goggles on, and you're paddling on the surface of an ocean. And you just look down. And sometimes you're more like in the shallows, and there's like reefs and fish and stuff. And then it's like the deep ocean, like deep sea, and sometimes you're just on the surface and you see, little fishies, it's like a sunny walk it's a sunny walk in the, how do you want to call it? It's a sunny walk in a park, right? It's like, oh yeah, and you smoke a joint, you walk, it's super nice. But then the other story is, it's like, I'm just gonna say, psychedelic mushrooms in the forest alone at night. That's like, okay, where's the axe murderer, right? So, I mean, I can say I've done these things without light. Sometimes you just lose track of where you are, but you just know how to keep it together, right? You do it like, hold it together, never scream, never panic, never panic. If it's hard, you breathe. If you get drawn into demonic faces or visions, you just do this, right? That's all I can say. You just do this. You paddle to stay there. If you sit in a place and you start feeling terrible, what you can do is you check your surroundings. What's disturbing you? Maybe you were sitting in the sun and now you're sitting in shadow. So you go to the sun again. And then maybe you should check, you plan this first, of course. You go to a neighborhood, people need to know if they want to do it, how to do it. If you go to, you don't eat 4 hours before such a journey. You bring maybe water or tea, nothing fuzzy. You bring water or tea. You may bring an apple or an orange, because if it gets too heavy, eating may help. If you think you have to vomit, you've not eaten for 3 hours, maybe bring toilet paper just in case. Or you just, try to eat lightly. Or just, you have to see. You can also make sure you drink a lot of water before so that you defecate, and then you go 4 hours, no food. Maybe tea, an apple, you don't just wolf down the apple. If you want to eat the apple, you sit down. Okay, I'm about to eat. Let's see. And then you try to eat consciously, like, appreciate the apple. You may have a revelation. I had one. But then I did it at home. And then I went, you have to know your surroundings, right? If you're living in a very disturbing neighborhood, rather don't do it. Rather wait for an opportunity without asking everyone, do you know where I can do, No, you just live your life and you focus on, I would like to have such an experience. And then it may come to you, right? It's going to be a challenge because, at the stage where I'm at now, I listen to people and they tell me about Iboga. And I think, wait a second, how far am I supposed to go? Because, the way I'm talking here now, I feel freer than ever before. And now I'm supposed to do Iboga? Like, is this like a message? Do it? Because, how far am I supposed to reach? And then you think, I think I've barely scratched the surface of what is out there. And the crazy thing is, it's the only thing that keeps me going, man. That I know there is still more to come. But I do not rush these things. I simply mention to the people that have access or something, I just say, hey, I would like to do it, but I have no money. So either I wait until I have the money, or somebody comes and says, you know what, you've helped me a lot because I do offer myself freely. I do energy work freely. And that's why I get the support for the apartment, amongst others, right? I'm basically also in need, right, of a friend and of people to help me and to kind of also take care of me, because I do a lot of really good work. I mean, I can just be there and watch the fire and keep the conversation going. I mean, I'm a very good conversationist. I mean, I'm still, it's heavy work, but I'm lifting things. I bring up stuff, because you cannot just run away and hide from your troubles. You have to face them. How are you supposed to deal with this? I mean, if you feel like screaming all the time, then to just go to the city center of Amsterdam and to just throw mushrooms, you have to know these things. I cannot tell you this, because in the end, it's your choice. There are people who've done it, but it's usually best if you have a sitter, right? You don't just do these things. At least I never did them, because you can have panic attacks. I mean, mushrooms, that's the gateway to the underworld, mate. Like, you don't want to mess with that shit. I know what I'm talking about. I'm living in it, right? It's like, just be careful. There are violent places. There are dark spirits. You go as a woman and you fly into some nice Brazilian country, and then it's like, oh, it's so nice. Yes. And then somebody comes, like, you're a good Christian girl, right? You just want to travel the world. Like, I'm waiting for the love of my life. I've met someone like this. She went to some kind of country, and then she took mushrooms, and then a guy had sex with her. And then you can say maybe it opened her up. It blew her mind. But I'm just saying you have to be careful, because maybe this guy was all right. And maybe she was even looking for that experience, but did she know that? Right? And that's what I mean. Just trust your feeling. If it feels good, do it. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying, there's always the option. I like to say yes. That's just how it is. I like to say yes to these things. But I also know that if you light a candle in your room, it may change everything. You don't have to have a fire if you want to do it in your room. There's like a 7-hour, there's like ayahuasca playlists. There's like, what else is there? There's like a psilocybin 7-hour playlist on Spotify. There's the playlist I made. It's called Spiritual Music. You can just turn that on, gentle music. You could burn some incense or burn some sage or Palo Santo. And then what you could do is just light a candle. You don't have to have 15 candles. You can. Candles are nice. 3 to 4. Just make sure they can't burn anything. Like put them into glasses or something. Just be smart about it. Don't put them under plants or curtains where things can catch fire. LEDs are pretty nice. You can change the colors, but I start getting sick of the red. I used to really like it, but I prefer white more now. And plus it's greenish anyway, because I put a green shirt over it. You see, and I just spent an evening with fire and smoking, and I'm absolutely relaxed. How could this be bad, right? I know, the soccer just threw the boomerang, and it's right in your face. So, right, what I could say or offer you is, I first check. Okay, only 5 minutes left. I think I can at least keep you with me when I'm doing this. I don't have to show you exactly what I'm doing. I mean, you'll know that I'll be rolling. But it's not like I'm saying, you know, you have to roll or something. You know, I'm also eating a banana. But whether or not you want to eat a banana is completely dependent on, you know, your dietary regulation. You know what I mean. You know, are you allergic to bananas? Well, if you are, then, you know, I would not recommend you to eat a banana. I do like bananas. I think I really like bananas. I'm not really sure. Just think about it. If your vibe would be so good, your vibe, that walking around the city could actually make people laugh for no reason. I'm just saying it's possible. There have been laugh waves in some kind of country in Africa. And Tristan, yeah, I can actually safely say he's a good friend. The Dignity of the Unvaccinated, we wrote that together. I'm just gonna name him because he also works. It's German content though. But he has some nice thoughts on a lot of topics. And I couldn't do it like he does it, right? I'm not a scholarly man. I don't like to read. I like to listen. I think that's it's nice, you know, that you can actually choose this. I mean, you can say that's how I like it, right? This is green tea with 2 cardamom pods. It's oolong. Fancy irgendwas. Super. You know, I'm not shy, right? I mean, I can be quite noisy. I can also sweep your fireplace, even though it's yours, just because I have the feeling sweeping should be done. So I learned to just do things and then ask, can I do this for you? Yeah, so in German the word weed is called Gras. You know, just like weed is not a weed, right? Weed is you know, it's Santa Maria, right? It's Santa Maria. Now that's the problem with having internet. You keep checking things. I like it if I don't have any. Oh, damn it. Oh, please. Do you know how intense it is to be introduced to women? Yeah, okay. It's nice. It's really nice. I just don't want to be too stuck. You know, I have really a problem with women. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I know I'm open and stuff, right? I mean, I'm open. And that's the thing. I'm really open. And that means if a woman would come and want to spend time with me, you know, I'd probably have no choice but to say yes. Well, that's actually not true. Because I've already, you could say, devoted myself to a woman. And it's really hard to accept that.